welcome back to my channel. Today is Wednesday, May 5th, 2021. My name is Aubrey and this is my astrological outlook for the day. So the energetics are quite interesting today, and there's a lot of planets discharging energetics that are kind of pointing to the same themes today. And whenever that happens, I always want to pay attention to it because it kind of is giving us very direct information about what might be transpiring throughout our experiences in our lives and what we see going on in the world. So today we are in a lot of ways, it seems like, watching some type of show, or there are just performances going on everywhere, okay? And big presentations, like I said, performances and displays, and this is being done in a public way. And this is indicated with today's energetics, like I said. And this may be very active today in terms of people putting on a show or presenting something in a certain way to project like a very edited image or a very sculpted narrative. So it's important to double check whatever we're presented with today in these energetics in our personal lives and in our worldly lives to be sure we're getting the real story about things and not being sold or persuaded by smooth talk or manipulative presentations of things or performances, trying to get us to see more of a glorified version of something. Sort of like propaganda would be a good way to summarize this energetic. And I'll explain in a moment all of the reasons why, but we kind of want to be on guard today for any type of, real smooth talk or like flattery or wooing or just any type of generally a little extra in some type of way for like no, perceivable reason. Just something to keep in mind because there's a lot of this going on today and a lot of things are playing into it. And so let me just go ahead and explain. There are 4 separate planets, like I said, pointing toward these themes today, which I am going to discuss. But actually the first thing I should say is that the main aspect we have in effect today is still the sun in square to Saturn. The sun is at 16 degrees of Taurus right now, and Saturn is at 14 degrees of Aquarius. So that square is still ongoing. It has been ongoing the past couple of days, but it's just Sun square Saturn can be generalized tension and confrontation with authority figures. We've had a lot of Saturn going on lately. We had the moon conjuncting Saturn, and we've had Saturn in square to the sun and to the earth, and that's been an ongoing thing over the past couple of days. So there's a tendency for that to just make things tense, and especially, like I said, confrontation with authority figures may have been going on. The sun is at 16 degrees of Taurus, and that for today, and that Sabian symbol is an old teacher fails to interest his students in traditional knowledge. So at this point in time, it's basically like the old guard failing to successfully push their agenda, and just basically the way that things have been going on and persisting for a very long period of time is not as convincing to people as appealing as it used to be. This Sabian is actually describing also, I find it interesting, the exact dynamic of what a Sun square Saturn transit would be like, because Saturn is the old teacher archetype and rules traditional knowledge. That's totally Saturn's forte, and instruction as well. And him failing to interest the students is a source of conflict, right? The square creates tension. We're just not interested in the worn out systems anymore, and the old control matrix is having to find ways to adapt and manipulate presentations if they want to be able to continue to sustain and maintain their influence and the control it gives them over the nature of the students' understanding and perception, right? The old teacher fails to interest his students in traditional knowledge because their interests and their minds are going elsewhere than the knowledge and traditions and the structures and the systems that are what we would think of as traditional or long-standing in our culture and world, basically. So this is where the other Sabians kind of come in to the picture today. that could be utilized in terms to sort of push agendas and distort perceptions. And I'm not just talking, on like a global media government type scale. I'm also talking about in our personal lives and in our family units and in our relationships and networks. And we're all going through various transformations in our life right now, and we have been ever since the big, huge conjunction back, it was 2020, December of 2020, when we had Saturn and Pluto, and Jupiter was also there in Capricorn. We've all been undergoing extremely fundamental transformations since then, and now we have all of this Uranus really pushing us into authenticity, and it's kind of like a lot of times in a lot of cases pulling us away from patterns and cycles that we have been in generationally, not only just, in our individual single lifetimes. And this is really kind of speaking to that, as well as in the context of what goes on a geopolitical level and in our world and in our society. So, we have that going on with the sun at that degree, and then also in square to Saturn. And now I want to talk about Mercury, who is happily in Gemini now, at 3 degrees of Gemini today. And this Sabian symbol is the Garden of the Tuileries in Paris. And this is grand demonstrations and displays of a manicured and landscaped edited version of reality. A beautiful presentation that must be maintained because that's not its natural existence. It's made that way through constant grooming and maintenance. Mercury is in Gemini, and that represents the media and information and communication. So we could see this in the media or social media, as well as with, like I said, with people in our own lives today. The moon will also be squaring Mercury today. The moon is in Pisces, and the Mercury early Pisces, and will square Mercury, which can make us very easy to manipulate, as feelings and emotions are at odds with and can overwhelm logic with this. It's, emotions, feelings in conflict with logic and rational thinking, issues between the right and the left brain. Especially with the moon in Pisces, making it even more kind of like lucid, sort of. We should all be careful not to be influenced to change our viewpoints on things today based on emotional issues. This is a big one, because under this, it can cause us to change ideas. Like, this energy can cause us to kind of change ideas with the wind, which can end up putting us and others in very compromising positions when the fog clears and we see the true nature of the landscape around us. So we really want to try not to be emotionally influenced by things today. Today is not the best day to make spontaneous decisions or to be sold on something. Don't make big random spontaneous purchases today. Venus is at 26 degrees of Taurus today, and this Sabian symbol is a Spaniard serenading his senorita. So again, that smooth talk, being serenaded, wooed into something, flattered, love bombed, painted a beautiful portrait of something, and with Venus at this degree, trying to steal our hearts or make us fall in love. So we want to be, cognizant of this. Be careful with people you meet today under this energetic, as well as they might not be just as they appear. And then we have more. So we have Mercury. Mercury is at the Garden of the Tuileries, very sculpted presentations of beautiful images. And then we have Venus being serenaded. And now we have Mars at 8 Cancer today. And this is a group of rabbits in human clothes walking as if they are on parade. So it's a show. It's a spectacle, a performance, and an actual parade or charade, totally just putting one thing on display and dressing it up and presenting it as something else. It's like, the question is, though, will we sit back and watch the show and find it charming and cute and entertaining and be like, "Aw," or will we be like, hold on, what is actually going on here? Why are we dressing up rabbits like people and watching them parade around? Like, let's either have a parade or not, but it's just weird. So that's kind of like the possible perspectives or how you could view things, kind of get sucked into the illusion of the image and just resonate with the surface value of it, or kind of look a little deeper and be like, yes, but it's also, something isn't right about this. So we just kind of want to have that in mind as we go about the day. And that's Mars. So that's like what people are doing. Okay. Putting on a show, putting on a parade, putting on a display. That's just a little off in some way. So it seems like shows and sculpted versions of things on display being broadcast today. The moon will also trine Mars at this degree today as well. Mars is in early Cancer and the moon is in early Pisces, giving us an energy boost and drawing us to feel somewhat of an emotional alignment with the parades and the performances going on today. So this is another, aspect that can potentially make us more ripe for manipulation and more motivated to embrace these illusions while they're happening. So just really something that we want to be aware of today. We generally are in an energetic that makes us more susceptible to being manipulated, and we have Mercury, the messenger, representing the media, social media, communications and information of all kinds, really just giving us a beautifully sculpted picture of something. And then we have Venus, being serenaded and wooed into something. And then we have Mars watching this kind of bizarre show going on. And those are three of the personal planets, and what they do is very significant in our personal lives, as well, as on the bigger world stage. So just interesting. And then with the sun at that degree as well, it kind of can be utilized in terms of that energetic, the old teacher's lesson plan not working out anymore. He's kind of got to come up with a new one that he thinks will jive and be more attractive to the people who are no longer interested. So the energetics kind of fit together, and today would be a good day to go ahead and try to run some type of manipulative or propaganda campaign, or just try to manipulate people generally, and knowing that they would be more susceptible to that. So and people do this unconsciously all the time, because the energetics, especially if you're unaware of them, are just playing out. Our vagus nervous system is receiving the signals and we respond. And if we're not conscious of, our own power and our ability to activate the energetics of the highest level through our free will, then they just manifest as us acting out these various roles. So, that's what it is. Let's see. Okay, finally today, and I find this interesting as well in the midst of all of these energetics, we have Jupiter moving degrees to 30 degrees of Aquarius, and this Sabian symbol is moonlit fields once Babylon are blooming white. And with this, you guys, as Jupiter discharges this last degree of Aquarius, I kind of feel like the great reckoning is upon us, What was Babylon is now nothing but fields, and they're blooming white. And Jupiter, the great benefic, is here today and over the next week to remind us all the war has already been won, despite what it looks like while the last battles play out. Try as, they might, people in our lives, people on the world stage, whomever, with their shows and displays and specifically crafted narratives and images, Babylon is gone, and it's now blooming white. And Jupiter is expanding this frequency now. And the old world has fallen, and we are building fresh and new from a purification and metamorphosis of our consciousness and psyches. The process that we're all going through right now, especially with Uranus. And the white blooms. That's what we're flowering into. Also, this is Uranus's last day. Speaking of Uranus, at 11 Taurus, that degree that he's been at, the woman sprinkling flowers in her garden. So for now, it looks like the flowers bloomed white, you guys. The woman turned Babylon into white blooms, harkening back to the new moon in Aries that we had in the reunification and purification of the divine feminine that I've been talking about, and the role that this specific energetic will play in transitioning us into the age of Aquarius and bringing us back in touch with natural order and true authenticity and genuine personal power and creative potential. So displays and smooth presentations might work for a short time further, but it will not avail. It absolutely won't. The fields are already blooming white. That's it. So, and one final note on this, the Earth today is at 16 degrees of Scorpio, a girl's face breaking into a smile. So whatever is projected on the screens of our lives today to try to, reinterest us or reconsume us in old issues or old dramas or old perspectives on things that we've moved on from or that we're trying to move on from and that we just don't feel attracted to anymore in all of our individual journeys to get back to our authenticity and ourself, that is just pushing out everything and everyone who's not in alignment with that and causing quite a bit of upheaval in the process. But it's just really not ultimately significant in having the impact that it was intended to have, or the impact is just not long lasting. And Mother Earth is smiling about it, so we're good. I really think that we're good. Just watch out today. Definitely. We need to watch out today for manipulation and deception, painted and performed in smooth and intoxicating and charming ways today. We are ripe for that. And it's just the energetic of being, emotionally drawn into something and then feeling, we have that square from Mercury to the moon. So the conflict between thoughts and feelings, and then the potential for people to be really painting a beautiful picture of things that we kind of want to jump into. But we have to understand that things today might not truly be how they appear today, or they might not be presented today in the way that is actually authentically true to them. So we really want to be careful about things like that today. It's most likely, because these things today just are most likely nothing but the performance. Also, this kind of makes me think a little bit of cover-ups too. It's kind of like the classic, just a minute baby, I'm almost done. It's kind of like the classic, look over here while something else is going on over here. Oh, look at all these rabbits walking around, parading and giving us a parade dressed up like humans, while over here is the thing that you're really supposed to be paying attention to, but everything is looking so good over here that you can't take your eyes away. Also, that type of energy. But things are definitely getting dressed up today somehow. So that's my report for today. Don't really know what to make of it. We'll see what happens. But shows, presentations, and, very well edited images and versions and narratives and wooing and serenading and parades and displays. That's what we got for today. So let's see how this goes. And we're not going to be manipulated into making any poor decisions today. Right? Right. All right, guys. If you like my video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Share it with your friends. And leave me comments. I absolutely love your comments. And I will see you guys back here for tomorrow. We have some planets changing degrees tomorrow, so that should be interesting. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.